Yo, I was liking the beat on the intro.
Yo, uh, I don't know. Are you kind of repeating? No, okay. Cool. No, welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah. We are live on the Sing Zone podcast here today with another special video for you guys. Now, today, I'm here joined with our host, Breezy. What's going on, Breezy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Not chilling, man.
Yes,
Chill.
same. I just been I just been chilling myself for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's snowed today. Over here. Weirdly enough, isn't like spring already.
Yeah, it's May, so it's pretty much spring. You said you had snow?
Yeah, no, yeah. There's snowing. It's snowing outside.
Oh no, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I live I'm down south, so we're not getting any snow anytime soon. It's the opposite here. Like earlier here it was 95 95 degrees. So complete opposite.
Damn, damn. That's I mean, 95. It's not bad because it's not like it's like negative temperatures over here. It's just snow. Like it was almost raining. I think that's about how it looked. But yeah, it's cloudy day. Other than that, chilling, man. Feeling pretty drowsy though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I kind of get that vibe today as well. It's just one of those kind of drowsy kind of days. But on those days though, I'd rather have it be like how y'all got it, where you got the cooler weather. Like I just like snuggling in with the cooler weather on those type of days. Like I don't like I don't like baking and sweating on a drowsy type of day. It just makes me just want to go to sleep and just forget about it.
Yeah, the humidity's gotta be crazy the further east you go too. Yeah, I've been on the east side a few times and oof, that's something you gotta get adjusted to. And
Oh
then
yeah.
as you go, even if you go up north, uh I guess depending where you go, the further you go east, the more like I feel like you'll get that to those temperatures. But yeah, I think I get the best of both worlds. I'd say that, and that just makes sense. But we got some things to talk about for you guys. Yeah, I wanted to kind of mention a few things here, but Breezy, did you want to start us off with something?
Yeah, we actually got some good news concerning Hunter X Hunter manga continuing. Like I know on our last stream we were mentioning we were hearing some confirmation that the manga was going to come back sometime pretty soon. And for a couple days Tagashi has been making tweets on Twitter where he's been posting images of sketchbooks and stuff like that and
Mm-hmm.
sketch work as well. And a lot of people are taking it uh, in a way where it's pretty much saying, he's continuing and he's trucking on with the manga, and he's going to have something for it pretty soon, which is, I know that's pretty exciting. Me, like I appreciate Tagashi, just going on with Hunter X Hunter. You can tell, like, even despite him having his health issues, because he could really just stop it at any time if he wanted to. But you could tell, like, he does it because he loves the work and he loves the characters and he wants to share the story. So big respect to Tagashi for that, and big respect to the fan base as well, because the fan base has been really supportive of it. Like even if you go and you look at like the comments and the tweets and stuff like that, they're really supportive of Tagashi and they appreciate what he's been doing. So things
Absolutely.
looking pretty good for that.
As a Takashi fan myself, I couldn't be more excited for this. I think about the possibilities, and then what settles in, I think, is the crippling reality that he is getting older, and um, he does have a history of being sick and going on hiatus. So I don't exactly know how consistent this will be once he does return, or if he'll get a chance to properly finish it. Like he said, he mentioned that there'll be a plethora of endings depending on his health. He mentioned this sometime last year. And he is scared of the possibility that fans may not like the ending that he comes up with, depending on his health situation. And so his involvement, even with, I hope he's still able to accomplish the ending that he truly wanted, and knowing he's able to accomplish that within his boundaries, within his limitations. You know, if he's able to make it this far, seeing the eyes all across the world and to make huge impact in the anime community, I wouldn't put anything past this guy. This guy is a trooper. You know, he's been a huge inspiration for all animators, Dragon Ball, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, you know, whether indirectly or directly. You know, that's just Tagashi, you know, and so many others that don't take any inspiration from them whatsoever. He has laid out the format. He's laid down the standard and what is allowable and tolerable. If you haven't seen my previous vid on the fanfic channel in regards to anime and new anime versus old gen anime, it's something I encourage you guys to look at. I'll probably leave the link in the description down below, but I'll talk about some of the boundaries and norms that he broke in that time. And so today it seems normal, although during that time it was not normal, which means in today's society we can actually go further if need, to establish and bring light to new ideas. And so yeah, I'm so hyped, so hyped. Tagashi, he is my number one guy. He is the number one guy. You know, after him, I think of, you know, Tite Kubo and what he's been through, and then of course you've got you know, Oda, and they you know, and then of course you've got, you know, in terms of Shueisha's big three, you know, they tend to carry a lot of influence from writers, creators, authors such as Tagashi, Yoshihiro Tagashi, as well as Akira Toriyama. And that's just not all that's out there. You know, there's so much more anime, even prior dated than them, that Tagashi was inspired, and his inspirations alone are inspiring. And so, you know, they are not dependent upon his art and his manga, his actual creations, which I find extremely I'm extremely appreciative of that fact. So yeah, for sure.
No, I fully feel you on all that. Like he's a trooper for sure, and very inspirational. Like and I know even on top of that, like we don't even know the full details of what is wrong with him. We just know that, you know, whatever it is, it is something pretty serious, and it's appreciated that he's continuing on despite that, because Japanese culture is very private. Like they don't really let out a lot about their health issues as far as what they're actually going through. The most that we know of is he has issues that give him severe problems with his back, where he has like back pains and lockups and things like that. But the details of it we don't really know. So I mean, the fact that he's still trooping on, and you know, he's still trying to deliver the story is just amazing.
Absolutely. And there'll be definitely more on Hunter x Hunter as he begins to come back to light and really show us what, you know, finish out what Hunter x Hunter is and should be. He mentioned, I know, a while ago that it was supposed to be short of the things that he incorporated within Hunter x Hunter was supposed that he or some of the things that he did wrong within Yu Yu Hakusho, which he felt bad for because of similar issues. He was sick and had to end it abruptly. And fortunately, he was able to kind of establish more of a he was kind of he was able to correct some of those things with Hunter x Hunter and this manga, but yeah, we will only time will tell, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up though, we have Bleach. Bleach. Yes. So there is it's rumored that Bleach may just be getting a new studio, and it's not the studio that you would think. This studio is going to work exclusively with Bleach. Why? You might ask. Well, I think my personal opinion is that due to Tete Kubo's small continuation of Bleach, the Hell arc, and of course, it receiving as much attraction over the years, over the last few years, especially. But even coming back from hiatus, and then, after years, almost a decade, maybe half a decade plus, we'll say that, wasn't quite there yet, but after an extended decade, Tite Kubo returns in full effect with the anime, and he's working heavily with the animation studios. Fortunately, it looks like they are making huge moves in Japan, with the studio being an extension of PERRIOT. And I'm assuming, this studio is actually, they figured, like, it'd be wrong for us to, like, only be good for, like, Bleach. It wasn't. No one talked about the animation quality for any other anime. It was comparable to that of the crowned Mappa studio, right? Quote unquote, and it decided to just branch off. It's like, okay, cool. We don't want to we don't want to intermesh our business interests. And this is all my headcanon, by the way. I'm thinking that they just want to have a certain part of that studio focus primarily on Bleach. It's obvious that there may be a little bit of a Bleach bias on the PERRIOT side. I can't say that for certain, but it seems that they're willing to go out of their way to ensure that Bleach is, Tite Kubo's getting his as they say, what do they say?
Just dues or deserved dues.
Yeah, he's getting his. He's able to, he's able to finally finish this beloved piece of brilliance, Bleach, which a lot of people do not give credit for, and I try to respectfully give equal credibility and credit to each of Shueisha's big three, right? But when it pertains to Bleach, I think that this is something, One Piece is getting the shine, Naruto got its shine. Let's go ahead and give it to Bleach. There's so many aspects that are great and that can be emphasized and that need to be emphasized because the art, it needs to live up to the art. That is an absolute must. It, in my opinion, its art style is not only unique, but it is sharp, it is timeless, and it's good. Those are all, some of those are subjective, like good, but in terms of art for, let's say, the others, I wouldn't necessarily say they are good. I would say the others. And so that's my separation bit from the other side. But yeah, this big thing, this new manga arc is going to be called the Jaws of Christening, and it appears like there's also going to be a continuation of that Hell arc, which is going to be. There are so many theories, some of which of mine come from. You may know him as a Flame of Rebirth, and even DBZ out there. There's not the anime, but the YouTuber makes some very solid theories when it pertains to Bleach content. So I would highly recommend checking out them when it pertains to theories. We haven't actually dived into many, but we have had the opportunity to speak with Flame, and yeah, that that I'm sure we're all excited for this. I know the Bleach community definitely is, and I tend to compare one Kendrick Lamar to Bleach as well, because Tetsuya Kubo is also the underdog in quote the big three, and if you're up to date with all the entire Drake and J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar quote beef, right? At least now that J. Cole's back now, you'll definitely see the comparison between Kendrick Lamar and Bleach there, how he just goes on hiatus and comes back in full effect, So yeah, that's Bleach, We'll get into the other stuff later, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, yeah, it's a W. Like, as long as Bleach can be shown, or just anything, like I would like anything to be shown, and the best way it can possibly be shown. As long as that happens, that's a complete W for me. I'm sure the fans are gonna eat that up and be happy about it. I know for me, like, we had this conversation on the stream with Flame, now that you mentioned him earlier, where he asked us, no, rather you asked us, you were like, what studio would we want to see Bleach come back under if it were to come back? Would we want it to be like Studio Pierrot? We threw Studio Ghibli out there. I remember I threw in Nappa, and you guys were like, "Oh no, you want those workers to suffer some more?" I was just like, no. I just want it to look good, but no. This is a W. I'm very excited for this and looking forward to checking it out when Bleach does finally get adapted in anime format again.
Yeah, Core 3 is coming around the corner, guys. Coming around the corner. It's basically here. It's basically here. This year has passed by very fast, but in a blink of an eye, it'll be here, and you'll be like, what, loading up the next episode. And that's a very, very sad thought. But this is great news. Whole new arc, new animation studio. It's called PERRIOT Films, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, but PERRIOT Films is going to be primarily doing only Bleach, which is wild. I can't name another anime studio out there unless it was like a movie that only had one anime that they were taking care of. Unless it's like maybe Studio PERRIOT. I'm sorry, Studio Ghibli, which I believe they exclusively make their own movies. Meaning like this, they're from their own material or partnered material. But yeah, that is that's Bleach news, guys.
Yes, exciting stuff. We also have some news for My Hero Academia. We spoke about My Hero Academia season 7 coming a couple times on the podcast. So this is just a reminder that it's finally here. My Hero Academia season 7 released over the weekend. So if you haven't tuned into that, be sure to go ahead and check it out. It's on Crunchyroll, I believe, and it should be on streaming services too by now.
Sorry, I'm muted. I've got to catch up on My Hero Academia. Because at their peak, I think that the animation is pretty dang good in terms of just the anime, but I've got to see. Like, I feel like My Hero Academia is just one of those animes which I have to finish. And I don't particularly feel that way about every single other anime. Maybe Black Clover. But I feel like they came out around the same around the same time. So I don't know if there's something there, but I feel the same about both those animes. Typically I don't drop and leave an anime forever. I'll always come back to it at some point. So but particularly with those two anime, those are some which I know, like, okay, I'm definitely catching up with those before anything else. Or finishing those before anything else. And so yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good news. Wow.
For sure.
When did that release
What
again? Do we know?
over the weekend? I think it was on I think it might have been yesterday. It was either yesterday or Friday when it came out, but it did just come out over this weekend. I think if yesterday was the 4th, it probably would have been then.
Yeah, a lot of things came out this weekend. Happy Cinco de Mayo, though, guys. I don't know if you guys. I don't know if I said that yet, but yeah, I don't have any tequila. I have some tacos in there that I could probably make for dinner. I'm not really. My stomach is probably done with tacos because I live off of tacos. And so when today comes around, I was like, all right, I already have tequila. I already have tacos. Cinco de Mayo. My Cinco de Mayo every Friday. That's my Cinco de Mayo. But yeah, that's next up, because I'm gonna continue to go on a tangent if I One Punch
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man has been regularly releasing hero visual art to keep energy high and to anticipation for season 3. Hero visual 3 or number 3 for May is Genos. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Genos.
I always called him Genos, but it might be Genos because I know like how in the Japanese version when you're watching it, like they pronounce some of the names differently than they do in the localized version. So like when I'm watching the Japanese, they're also like Genos, and when I'm watching it in English, and it's like Genos. So Genos might be completely right. I don't know, but either or. But yeah, season 3, I believe, for One Punch Man is supposed to be coming out in the fall. So it's pretty dope that they're doing like these key visuals to keep up the energy for it. I think for the first a couple months ago, the first one was art for Saitama. The second one, about a month ago, was some pretty dope art for King. And then we got some for Genos, and they're just throwing out the promotional art into the final release of the of season 3, which a lot of people are getting pretty pumped up and excited for. So
yeah,
just a reminder that it's coming.
I didn't even know that hype was dying. Like energy.
Nah. I never got the vibe that the energy was dying.
Yeah, I mean, this is One Punch Man we're talking about. Season about to be fucking wild. It's interesting that they're doing this because, with season 3, they're going to have a lot of. There's going to be a huge arc for Genos, however you want to pronounce it, in terms of just development, character development, and then things that are going to happen. It's really going to be, something that he shines in. And this is probably one of the more anticipated anime that I'm excited about, One Punch Man. This is probably like in my top 3 in terms of what I'm excited for. It's like Hunter x Hunter. What else is coming out? Bleach, and then One Punch Man. Those are pretty much my top 3 in terms of like things that have not fully, that aren't fully or not dropping as of now in terms of the anime, but are highly anticipated in my book. So yeah, that's great stuff. That's good stuff. Wow.
Yeah, for me, my most anticipated one so far is Lazarus, which is supposed to be coming out this fall.
Ooh.
But like we haven't gotten any new updates on that one in a while, other than it's supposed to be dropping this fall. But I've been kind of on the edge of my seat for that one because I loved Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. They're like my two favorite anime, and I love Watanabe's work. I just love that short sort of episodic style where like each episode is its own contained plot kind of thing. It's very unique to me. So I hope they can bring some of that back with that one. But I don't want to diverge too much, but I'm just looking forward to that one.
No, I love that, you know, because I'd have to put that at number 4. Because yeah, for sure. It gave me like gangsta vibes. Like if you guys have ever
Yeah, I felt that.
yeah, it kind of gave me gangsta vibes, but like by Watanabe. I was like, okay, well, you know, let me actually look into this. Let me check this out. And I think it's going to be coming out just a few short more months, right? Like extremely soon. Like damn right, we're doing watch parties. We do watch parties and everything else. Damn right, we're doing a watch party for this. You can bet your ass we're doing this. So hell yeah. I mean, anything else? Any other animes before we continue?
Oh, we also had some news for One Piece. So One Piece is getting a cafe in Los Angeles. Supposedly, it's a completely One Piece inspired food cafe, and it's opening on May 11th. Like I seen images of like stuff that they were trying to do for it, where like they have these it almost looks like little cakes that are shaped like the fruits that you would see characters eat in One Piece. So I thought that was kind of a cute little neat thing that they were doing up in Los Angeles. Like it's One Piece, so it's bound to get some attention.
Yeah, One Piece knows how to put on a show, that's for sure. Like, damn, I gotta see this cafe now. And it's crazy because we were just about to talk about, you know, my background in LA. It was crazy. Um I gotta see like where would they put it? Like, will they put it in like Chinatown? Probably in Chinatown, right? I mean, that's probably not right because it's Japanese, but maybe they'll put it in like West Hollywood, which is near Chinatown. They just probably throw it over there or something. I don't know. I gotta look up the location now. I feel like I gotta look up the location now and provide you guys. Oh, you said Las Vegas.
Yeah, like I was just about to correct that. I was like, no, not Los Angeles, but Las Vegas.
I was like, oh, yeah, okay, Las Vegas. That makes more sense.
Yeah, in Vegas. It might have been a spoke on my part as well. I'm not sure if I said Los Angeles.
Yeah, I also can't hear, so you may have said it, but may have not. I couldn't tell you. I've got to put my headphones on like over 100 to max 100 all the time to for me to hear anything. But yeah, that's One Piece inspired foods. I wonder if it's going to be anything like the Nard Ichiraku ramen in Japan. They even have Ikarachu ramen in the United States as well, which is good. It's just not as theatrical as
the Japanese one.
The one in Japan. Yeah, Japan really does it big in terms of like Ikarachu ramen. But
oh well, do you know where the American Ichiraku place is?
I know I had one in Texas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's.
I did not expect Texas. I'm not gonna lie to you.
For sure. Yeah, I know that's weird, right?
It is.
Yeah, there's a few. Like I know all over the United States, but the one that I went to in particular was in Texas.
Oh wow.
And it was good. It was good, and there were no complaints. In fact, the ramen was delicious. Was comparable to any other ramen types. I'm a fan of like Korean style ramen. Um, but it was good. Like it was something that I can remember it just being good.
You're not the first person who told me that they really like Korean style ramen. Like, what's the difference between Korean style and just like regular ramen?
I would say spice. I'm not the most educated on ramen, so I would have to you have to take that opinion with like a grain of salt. But definitely, in my experience, rice for spice for sure. Tends to be a little spicier, thinner noodles. I want to say,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
and just a lot more stuff in it. Like peppers, um, veg- and vegetables, maybe. I don't know. Definitely spice though, for sure. Um, you can't order like Japanese ramen spicy, but typically like the ramen is good as it is. You have the egg in it. I don't recall. I think I also want to say that Korean ramen tends to be not as watery as
Oh,
Japanese.
okay.
I could also be incorrect on that too, but that's just my experience. Um, and yeah, that's damn. I now feel like next time I go to like Las Vegas Strip, I gotta check out, and I don't even know if it's on the Strip. That's just a guess. You said it opens up May 11th, 2024, or it opened.
Yeah, yeah. May 11th of this year is when it officially opens.
That is like less than a week from now. Damn.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Like, I say it all the time. Like, time has been flying by. Like this year, I don't know where this year went.
Yeah, yeah, I know for sure. And I've been trying to. I've been extremely busy. I know you've been extremely busy. You know, everyone's just been extremely busy, and I think being as busy and also doing new things could also make time go by faster. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think as long as you're staying productive, staying consistent, it's less time you have. I think there's what I've come to understand is there's less time to think about things you would normally contemplate on, think about more so. But I think as long as you use, you take caution and everything, you could always come back to it in most cases. And unless they're life moments, in that case, life moments always happen, and you just gotta roll with it. Because I think at points in times, that could be a beneficial thing. It could be a bad thing in terms of the longevity of things. Um, but it's all just dependent upon, I think, and this has just been my resolve to it. Um, how you accept it in the end, because depending on how you live your life, you could live it as someone that's going to be regretting or regretful of things, and or someone that's unapologetic. And in most cases, I tend to now understand that, just be unapologetic. That things are going to fall short. Um, and then it's just good to keep going. Um, and to look for things that'll challenge you in bright new ways, because at the end of the day you'll look back and you'll say, I'm glad I did those things, or I I'm glad I was consistent in terms of healthy practices, and things tend to turn out all right. Turn out all right. And that might be a terrible simplification of life, but um life doesn't isn't isn't static, right? It's malleable, right? So you could change things and learn from things. It's all just a matter of perception, um, and also perspective. Life is, we are the modern, um, we are philosophers in our own aspects, right? Um, the new age of life and technology keeps turning, and we got to be, things happen. Sorry for that tangent, though. I know you want to speak about some other things, so I'll let you get to that.
No, 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 you're good. You're good. Wise words. Oh yes, yeah. Ninja Kamui. I just want to bring up that it's actually reached its finale again. A lot of stuff's been going on over the weekend. It was over the weekend, I think, where its final episode released and wrapped that up. Like, to me, it's kind of like, man, I've been missing like a lot of stuff because I started Ninja Kamui, but I haven't been able to consistently watch it through like I want to. But then at the same time, it's kind of comforting to me that it's a contained story that's not too long, and it's finally got to its finale, so I can just watch it through without being like in a situation where I have like so many episodes to catch up on. But the episodes that I did watch of Ninja Kamui, I really enjoyed them. I always like a classic revenge story. Like I said it a couple times on here, but it kind of gives me those vibes like like John Wick or something the where he's excommunicado, the rogue is being hunted down by his associates or his uh his clan kind of thing. Like I always like those types of revenge stories, or it almost reminds me of like Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill when what was Uma Thurman's name in that movie where Beatrice was betrayed and then she came back and she took all of them out kind of thing. Like I love that type of stuff. So I'm glad that it's finally reached its finale, and a lot of people, from what I've seen, have been pretty happy with it, and I'm just looking forward to watching it through.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I heard that in terms of the anime, it wasn't well received, and I'm not typically one to sway off because of that. I'm more of a story guy, anyways. Um, but I find that extremely disappointing, disheartening. Um, and I want to see why. I did see some of the anime clips, and it could be. It looked like it may have included some CGI, which would also be disheartening for me. And I've been a huge advocate for something like Ninja Kamui in terms of its potential. But I feel like in terms of its animation quality, um, I need to finish the ending myself to actually come to that conclusion, and then maybe I'll speak about it at a later time. That's yeah.
No, I completely feel you on that. Like me myself, when it comes down to different things, especially shows or film, like that type of stuff, like I have to watch it myself, because if you just go into and you just look at the reviews, like they'll give you a completely different impression and potentially change your perspective of a certain show before you even get to watch it. But if you watch it yourself with fresh eyes, then you see things from your own perspective first, and then you're able to go back and just kind of break down, okay, what are they talking about? But at least you formulate your own opinion before going off and to being, influenced beforehand or clouded beforehand by something somebody else said. So I completely feel you on that, because I'm the same way when it comes down to films. So unless it's like a really, really, really big one and like people are just like completely bashing on it, where I don't really have a choice but to hear what people are saying, because it's just unavoidable at that point as a spoiler. I generally try to avoid other people's thoughts until I watched it myself, and then go back and be like, okay, where I see you're coming from this perspective on this here kind of thing. So I completely feel you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think you could have said it better. Um, yeah, I hate that. the anime community. That's probably a flaw of the anime community, where they tend to be swayed by just public opinion, and that it's clear that it's large amount of that is due to it being children that are getting into shonen anime and developing opinions and understanding that opinions people want opinions, and so yeah, it's an easy market to get into if that's your gig. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely feel you. Have you ever watched the anime Monster, like the old anime Monster?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, like okay, that one is a good example of what you're saying because I've had a lot of people tell me that Monster it wasn't worth watching, or it was just boring, or it was okay or whatnot. But then I actually went and somebody convinced me to watch it myself, and then I went and watched the show through myself, and I thought it was a phenomenal show. So I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
Yeah,
I completely feel you and understand where you're coming from with that.
it's always about what's trending. What's trending right now? It's Naruto. Oh well, if it's not Naruto, I'm not getting Rasengans and Shadow, then I don't want it. I don't want it. That's that type of attitude. And for some of you guys that are familiar with the anime community, you guys know, just go on Twitter for about 15 minutes. You'll understand. I did forget High School DxD has surpassed 7.8 million copies in print worldwide. Sold the novel. That is interesting. I wouldn't have guessed it.
Yeah, like I never would have seen that coming, especially with a lot of people going to consume novels, light novels and manga and comics and things like that online. So for that to sell 7.8 million copies in print is really impressive. Like from my understanding, High School DxD is like a harem anime slash manga. I'm not really too into that, but yeah, it's a big surprise to me. So I thought I would just mention it.
No, it's and it may not classify as or be, I guess, identified as hentai, but it's very hentai-ish if that's the case. But yeah, next off is a very special one, especially because you just watched the episode 4 today of Kaiju number 8. In my opinions, the episode was fantastic. I give it a solid. In terms of a shonen anime, I'll give it a 3.9. 3.9. That's very high. That's 3.9 stars, by the way. So
I was going to say like 3.9 out of 5 or 3.9 out of 10.
yeah, out of 5. I'm not gonna do it like that.
Okay.
I thought it was a very good episode. 3.9. I put 3.9. That's almost a 4, which is what I'm not sure how that is percentage wise, but yeah, a very good episode. I like how it adapted a lot of the emotion, captured the sound effects, and the music was spot on and on point. Same thing. I was spot on, right? I like how they're seemingly introducing new characters. The pacing second time around, because I did watch the episode twice, seemed pretty fast. I'm sure people get this feeling most times when they watch it a second time, but the first time, I think the pacing, just generally, I think that the episode pacing for episode 4 was very, very well. I thought it was very well. I wasn't on edge. I wasn't thinking it was going to end with a cliffhanger. I that wasn't in my mind the entire time. I was, of course, it's always going to be a concern, but it wasn't like, oh, I hope this episode ends on the cliffhanger. It's like if this anime ends on the cliffhanger, it's for good reasons, and it makes sense given where it's currently at, but it didn't. And I'm glad that it didn't, because that just means so much more when we can be introduced to so much in one episode. So yeah, and I'm sure people will dissect episode 4. They'll see different reviews or whatever. Whether or not I'll do a review, I don't know. Probably not yet. Maybe toward the end of its season. But this is an anime that I feel like it's going to do very, very well, and is especially with the theme of the monster and the monsterverse this year, 2024. To just caveat off of that, I think that well, to caveat off of that, there's a spin-off now with for Kaiju number 8 called Kaiju number 8 Relax, releasing June 4th, 2024.
Yeah.
Did you want to tell us
Go
about
ahead.
this?
No, I interrupted you. Go ahead. You can get your thought out first, and I'll put out my thoughts.
I was actually going to ask you anyways. Did you want to share some thoughts?
Yeah. So, for the spin-off novel or manga, I said novel. Spin-off manga for Kaiju number 8. We don't have the exact details of what that's going to comprise of yet. The only thing that we know is that they're planning on doing a spin-off, and it's going to be coming on June the 4th. So it could still be set within the same plot as the main plot of the story. But I did want to comment on episode 4. I thought the scene with Kikoro when she was about to get when she thought she was pretty much a goner, I thought that was pretty well done. It gave me a completely different feel from because I read the actual chapter in the manga format before, but I guess when you see things in motion and animation, it gives you a completely different feel. Like I felt like it was a lot more of a with the way they portrayed it was a lot more of a desperate situation for her. And then like they did the whole flashback when she went to her dad and she was like, oh man, like I just want to be perfect. And he's like, you know, well, don't worry about that kind of thing. Like just worry about your next goal, because if you just stay on with you doing so well with what you're doing now, you're just gonna fail in the next thing you're gonna do. I was like, dang, like daddy is hardcore kind of thing. Like, well, now I know why she's the way that she is. So but I thought that scene was really well done. When she thought that she was gonna get finished off, it was really emotional. I like the comedy aspect of how they do the anime so far. Like I like when
Ichikawa
Kafka,
or Kafka?
huh? Yeah, when Kafka when he transformed into the kaiju and he was just like begging Kokoru. He was like, no, don't tell them I'm a kaiju. Like that part was pretty funny. So so far I'm liking what they're doing with it. I like its unique kind of comedy style blended with the action. It's pretty nice so far.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that was yeah. There's a lot of I love how they kind of incorporate the humor aspect. I feel like this is going to be one of those animes that is going to slowly find a way, and we're just automatically like it's going to be a flip, and it's going to happen so seamlessly. We're not going to realize until we're already in the mess of it, which I love. I'm liking it. Next up, we have the movies and TV segment, or movies and television series segments. Did you want to start?
Yeah. There's going to be a new Maze Runner movie I'm hearing, but the new Maze Runner, from what I understand, is it's not a continuation of the old series, and it's not a reboot in the sense that it's taking what's going on with the old series and then just making it new again. Like it's a complete remake. So the plot, it's still going to be Maze Runner, but it might have like original characters and things like that kind of thing. The writer that worked on the movie Transcendence is rumored to be writing for the film. So that's kind of exciting to me because I like the film Transcendence. It's been a while since I've seen it, but like
I've heard of that movie. Let me see.
yeah, that was the one where oh man, how do I even describe the plot of Transcendence? And it's been so long since I've seen that movie too. It's almost like they were entering like a I want to say it's almost like Matrix in a way, but it's not quite like Matrix. But if you look at the movie, you'll see what I mean. They enter like a completely different alternate reality type thing, and it's crazy. It's a wild movie, but it's one that I enjoyed. So hearing that the writer for that movie is coming on to write for Maze Runner is kind of exciting, at least for me.
That's some news right there. Interesting. Maze Runner remake. Yeah, I'm surprised there's no visuals out for it right now.
Yeah, it's just in development at the moment. It's not there's no trailer or anything like that up yet. It's just in the works, so to speak.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, next up that we have Twisters. It's a movie about Twisters.
Yeah, so that one I think is just like one of those movies where it's just straight up, like you said, it's just twisters, just destroying everything kind of thing. Like one of those movies where there's a big natural disaster that's just more dramatic than our regular natural disasters that we see. Where like it just goes on and on and on, and it just wrecks everything. So, but I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I've experienced so like dust. They call the smaller ones, or like dust. Like mini twisters, but typically when people refer to twisters, they refer to them as, or they're referring to tornadoes. But when people refer to the smaller ones that don't really have much effect, that just like wipe up like small trash and is small trash and stuff. They typically refer to like those as something else. But yeah, this movie releases July 19, 2024. Is it going to be something that I'm going to watch? Hell yeah. I'm still going to catch up on Cocaine Bear too. Yeah, I'm looking at some more natural disaster movies. If you guys have recommendations, make sure to leave them down below because I love those movies.
Oh man, wait, you didn't watch Cocaine Bear yet?
I have not.
My god. Oh man, that movie is just like don't expect anything like really deep or anything, but it's just crazy. It's a crazy movie.
That's what I hear. Don't tell me anymore.
All right.
All about it. Let me hear all of. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted whenever I hear anything about that movie. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm like, I gotta see this movie. So whenever it comes on, that's when I'll see it, I guess. But aside from that, I'll probably, maybe I'll get the urge to find it and just watch it at one point in time, or I don't know. It's probably on Prime. Watch it on Prime or Hulu or something like that. I don't know. It's out there. It's out there. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's on Prime. So maybe I'll watch this week. I don't know. Yeah.
Next up, I wanted to talk a bit about Borderlands. So Borderlands is, well, first off, have you ever played or heard of any of the Borderlands games?
I have. In fact, I've played Borderlands.
Oh, okay, dope. Yeah, I got Borderlands. I pretty much got all of them. I got Borderlands 1, 2, 3, and then there's one in the middle. I forgot what it's called. It's called like Borderlands the something collection or something like that. But pretty much I played all the Borderlands video games. But cool thing is the video games are getting a film. and the film is coming out on August 19, 2024. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Borderlands series, it's just like it's a video game that is it takes place in a post-apocalyptic society, kind of similar to like the Fallout games, but the difference between Borderlands and Fallout is Borderlands has more of a comic art style, and it has a more comedic style as far as the characters. It has really quirky characters and things of the sort. So really interesting and fun kind of post-apocalyptic looter shooter kind of game that's fun to play with your friends and things like that. So the fact that it's getting a movie that's coming out in August is pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I definitely get the feel of like Fallout from series like BioShock.
Oh yeah, BioShock. That was a good one too.
As to where, you know, Borderlands sort of reminds me of a more arcade style game.
For sure.
And so yeah, that's it's interesting. It's all very that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely get the arcade vibes with the art style, especially since it has more of a comic look to it, as opposed to the realistic approach.
Yeah.
Another movie coming out. We don't know the exact date for this one, but this one has been through like delayed development for a long time, and that's Megalopolis. But it's supposed to be premiering May 17th, so at the Cannes Film Festival. So that's like in 2 weeks. So this film, the plots, it's a Adam Driver film. Adam Driver is going to be the main character in the film, and it also takes place in a futuristic America where things are kind of they sort of taken a dark turn from what I understand. But the main character of the film has time based abilities in which he's trying to go back in time or manipulate time in some way to rebuild society to be better. So looking forward to this one a little bit because I'm intrigued by the plot, but we'll see how it goes.
Let's check it out. This is Megalopolis.
Yeah, Megalopolis.
It's got Adam Driver. Oh.
But yeah, looking pretty cool so far. I'm interested in it. Uh-oh. I'm not muted, am I?
No. I am. That's my bad. Next up, we have The Fall Guy. Debuted #1 at the box office this weekend. So yeah, this is crazy. How do you feel about that?
I think it's kind of cool. I haven't seen a good comedy movie in a long time. From my understanding, The Fall Guy is a comedy movie based on that has to do with a stuntman. And like I said, I haven't seen a really good comedy movie in a long time. And people that I know who've seen the film, they enjoyed the film. So this one I might check it out, especially since it's been doing pretty well at the box office so far. So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie either. I haven't seen this movie either. As of lately, it's probably just been mostly stand up.
Right.
Getting ready for that stand up special. It's gonna be premiering live on here on. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
It'll come at some point, but
unless we're just gonna go back and forth and set up with the jokes or something like that, we could do like a podcast where it's just all stand up comedy.
All right. That would be a sight to see right there. Dang, I gotta. We'll figure it out at some point. But yeah, that's great news. Wow. Number one. Interesting.
Yeah, the Boys season 4 has finally dropped a trailer recently.
Say what?
Yeah, there's a trailer now.
Oh snap! I haven't even seen season 3 yet.
Oh man.
I hope it doesn't have any spoilers. The Boys season 4 trailer. There it is, right there. Oh, oh yeah. Damn, 6.6 million. That's still less.
Yeah, people are not playing about the Boys.
That's still less than the Kendrick Lamar drop last night.
Oh man, that drop got so many views so fast, and even the one before that dropped right before that, I think it was what was the name of that song? Meet the Grams.
616.
Yeah, 616. Yeah, 616 didn't even get that many that fast when it dropped. So it's crazy.
Yeah, man. Oh, we're gonna talk about that right after this movie segment.
Alrighty.
Here we go. Here's the Boys. Yay!
It's crazy.
Dang. Yeah,
crazy trailer.
Oof, that trailer was oof. I forgot how crazy the Boys is, you know.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer beforehand. I probably should have given you a warning. I wasn't thinking about that part, but yeah, crazy.
Violence warning.
Yeah.
She's peeling off her face. It was crazy. What's going on here? Guys, this season 3 first. That's crazy. Probably still like how's the country not falling yet? How they spin this? I gotta find out how they spin this. Spun that.
Right?
But yeah, next up, Captain America 4. What? Captain America 4? I thought he died. Now, I did hear something a little bit about them bringing him back as a different variant from other side of the multiverse. There's new promo art for it. So
yeah, the promo art was showing Red Hulk, I believe.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. The fact that they're bringing Red Hulk back, or they're bringing Red Hulk to life. Like a lot of people don't know about Red Hulk, but yeah, this is crazy news. If I'm not mistaken, Red Hulk is he arrived because of the symbiote, right? The red symbiote.
Yes, I believe so. I kind of forgot his origin story, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, I want to say like the red symbiote like took control, and then he ended up on like a planet. He was Red Hulk, and basically like Bruce Banner died, but then he outlived the symbiote or fought the symbiote off somehow. I don't know. It could be. I'll be all over the place right now, but this is great news. Either way, there'll be more information on this as information releases, and we'll be providing you guys that. Definitely looking forward to both Red Hulk and Captain America 4. I think there was the promo of this Captain America is of the new Captain America, which was the thinking back now, because there was a new Captain America, and he is the previous what did they call him before? He had the wings. You know what I'm referring to? Let me see.
You're talking about, you said the new Captain America?
Yeah, it was a previous.
Captain Falcon?
Yeah, exactly. Captain Falcon, yeah. Is the new Captain America. So that's interesting. Disregard the whole multiverse thing. I think they did mention that too. So I'm not completely fabricating anything. That could be something I think they work into the multiverse later on down the line, and it may occur either post Captain America or post or and within, like, I guess a multiverse setting. So yeah, this is great news. Wow. I wonder how they're going to implement that, because I couldn't. And the only way I see this making it on its own is if it's just as good as like Iron Man 1, right?
Ooh, that's a big bar.
That, and that's the only way I kind of see this kind of floating and kind of being relevant. Because the actor, I don't think he's that impactful within the Marvel setting, and so that I feel like they would have to give him the Robert Downey Jr. treatment, in terms of like when they created Iron Man 1. So yeah, it's my take on that.
I can kind of see that, especially given the way that his abilities work, because he's similar to Captain America in a way, but he also shares some similarities with Iron Man as far as his suit being a little bit more advanced. Whereas like Captain America was just he's just a really strong guy that he had the super serum. Whereas Falcon, he's not quite as strong as Captain America physically. So to make up with that, he has uh technological a more technological suit.
Right, yeah.
But
Dang.
I can kind of see something like that. But Iron Man 1, man, that's a big bar for that movie to overtake. I don't think it would do as good. Just I mean, from what I'm feeling as the previous films, but I guess we'll see. I'm always trying to remain on the optimistic side. Like I don't want to see a film bomb, so we'll see.
I'm just hoping that it tries to come close. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Whether or not it matches it or exceeds it, I don't know. I'm not even too optimistic about this. I would like to be. Hopefully the trailer gives it more, does it more justice in terms of shedding light on what it could be. Yeah, this could be fantastic news. Captain America, man. Captain America, unfortunately, doesn't. I don't think has ever had a lot of hype behind him. Although he's been a huge leader in terms of like as a hero. So seeing some of those leadership traits, I think will definitely be interesting in terms of like how he'll be in future movies if they anticipate casting him on future movies. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on from Captain America, we have news that a new Jason Bourne movie is currently in development. So the sixth installment, I like the Jason Bourne films. Like it's just, and I just sounding repetitive at this point, but I always like those type of movies that are sort of in a way like a revenge story or the lone wolf guy, so to speak. Where I really like the first trio of Jason Bourne movies a lot with the Bourne Identity, and then I forgot the title of the second one, but I know the third one was like the Bourne on an Ultimatum. It was almost to me like a John Wick before John Wick was even a thing. We're like, oh snap, is John Wick is the boogeyman. Like when I heard that, I immediately thought of like the old Jason Bourne films. That I've seen before John Wick was even a thing, where like they were tracking this man down and they're like, they see him on camera, they're like, oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. It's like, oh.
Right.
Like, I love that stuff.
Who am I? What is my
Right?
name? Man, Jason Bourne, man. I'm so glad they're bringing him back because, yeah, for sure, John Wick. I don't. Yeah, he's great. Keanu Reeves, great actor, but he's not Jason Bourne. This is
Nah,
Jason
nah.
Bourne. This is great. This is huge news right here. It's in development. Oh my gosh. Um, man, I'm looking forward to that. And I've seen pretty much all the Jason Bournes. Um, but I'm interested. I never would have anticipated them coming out with Jason Bourne 6. That's just it's something that I don't know how to feel about that. I'm excited a little bit, but I also don't know how they're going to implement that. So I'm a little curious. But
Yeah, I feel you on that. It almost the way the last movie was, it almost makes you feel like where's there to go next kind of thing. So it kind of makes you feel like, man, like you know what I mean? Like the story feels like it's reached its closure. So it's just like where is there really to go after that?
right, and yeah. I mean, he found his identity, did he not?
He
Um,
did, yeah.
and that was a huge one in just the trilogy, initial trilogy. Um, and then in the movies after, he's just kind of running. But yeah, I mean, I've gotta re-review the movies and formulate a better opinion about that. But yeah, great news! Wow. Um, next up we have Evil Dead. Evil Dead has 2 new movies in development. One is directed by Sebastian um, Venisek. The other is with Francis Gallupi as directed and Sam Raimi as producer. Sorry, Francis Gallupi is the director, and Sam or Samuel, whatever the name is going to be the producer. So that's interesting. Um, Evil Dead, 2 new movies in development. Like, where are they planning on taking these 2 new movies? Why are 2 separate movies in development? I'm I don't even know what to say about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, same. I'm not even too familiar with the two directors that are rumored to be you know to be making the movies, and even the fact that they're using two different directors for the two different movies is very interesting. The only person that I'm really familiar at all with as far as like their name is Sam Raimi, because I believe he was the one that also was producer for the Spider-Man trilogy. But yeah, like it's very interesting. Like I'm just wondering what they're going to do with it, and I wonder if like if it's going to have like the same characters as well. Like is Ash Williams going to come back? You know?
That's an interesting theory. I don't know, honestly. Um, hmm. That's Sebastian. I can't really find much on that guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're very like as far as the directors that are rumored, they're very unknown to me. So
So,
interesting choices.
Francis Gallupi, I'm probably butchering that name, but he's made movies like High Desert Hell, the Gemini Project with Will Smith, The Last Stop Yuma in Yuma Country. So those are some familiar movies that we may or may not have heard of. I know I've heard of a few of those.
I've heard of that one, and then I've seen the Gemini Project. If I remember right, that was the one where there were two Wills and one was younger. I thought
Mm.
that movie was okay. Like it wasn't crazy or anything like that. It was just okay to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably how I felt about that as well. Um, I don't know. I can't. And it was a Will Smith movie, so it was really underwhelming in terms of a Will Smith movie. I will say that. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. I get that feeling as well.
from what I remember, and I'm hoping they deliver with Evil Dead. And maybe this may be more up his alley. It's hard to tell right now, but I'm nothing but the best for this guy. Truly hope that he comes through with this because I love some scary movies every now and then. Um, yeah, holy crap. Um, next up though, I'm gonna take a little bit of a curveball here. How do you what is your take? How do you feel about the entire Kendrick versus Drake beef going on now?
Oh man, how do I even put out my thoughts about this one?
Mm,
Well, me myself, I'm more of a to be honest, I'm like a Kendrick fan.
mm,
At first I didn't think too much of the beef. Like I thought, okay, they were just gonna just do a little bit back and forth. Like there's first person shooters, and then right after first person shooters, Kendrick released, and then Drake released with push ups, and Kendrick released, and I thought like it was just gonna be like a little bit of a small beef because I know they've been taking subtle shots at each other since man, I think since Kendrick drops Good Kid, Mad City a while back is when the subtle shots taken at each other started pretty much started, but it wasn't that blatant or apparent until first person shooters, and then it just escalated like a lot from there. And then like even listening to the content of the songs themselves, it's just like, man, like with the allegations that they're putting on each other. Like I know like in one song, like Drake was saying something like
whoa,
Kendrick was
whoa.
you know
Let's wait on the allegations. Let's wait on the allegations.
okay, I'll say that for
Whoa, whoa.
a bit. But to me, like overall, like the the back and forth, I didn't expect it to to escalate that far. It just kind of took me off guard. But what are your overall thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, so me, I personally I listen to everything, right? And be it that I haven't always been as consistent as of recent years, one to follow topics like this. Um, things have come to light in terms of the inner city dealings. Me being from the West Coast myself, being born and raised. Um, I feel like I have to have I want to it be beneficial for me to share some of my opinions about um this beef, if you will. And I remember first listening to this as a teenager. Um, with and from my opinion and my experience, what I've seen is that they come from two sides of the spectrum here, right? Um, it essentially seems like, of course, Kendrick, right? He has a huge, not only a lot of background in city life, the streets, but culture itself, right? As to where Drake comes from a little bit of privilege. He comes from being an actor with seemingly a healthy household from Canada, though. And there seems to be a little bit of division between that in the hip hop world. Um, I believe I first remember Kendrick dropped the control verse, kind of dissing everyone, like, hey, like fuck everyone, like I'm the king, right?
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
if you compare most of them to his quality of work and his beginning and his potential at that current point in time, where he is today isn't really a shock or surprise, right? Every step he made is essentially between each of his whether it was a mixtape or albums, each of those were impactful, and they were breadcrumbs, money trees, if you will, to the streets, right, and for the culture. And so when I see, Drake, of course, he's had beefs over the years with artists, and it makes him look like a little bit of a martyr, right? A little bit of a someone that's on the defense because the white people quote from him, right? White people say that um, he is um, trying to remember his exact Twitter post for this, but but there was some division racially about what coming from him and how he's kind of affecting the culture. And to me, right, in my experience, I think I've seen this firsthand in terms of how it's affected not only the culture but LA, California. I think that there's a lot that could be said, but I think Kendrick said it best in his recent diss track. And I think most of us really, at least the real ones, really understand, like, we don't, there's not hate for him because, he's doing well and he's not actively representing, he's not, like a activist or anything, but because he is choosing not to, because he's choosing to deal with anyone just for the credibility of it. Like in his recent mixtape, and when he essentially, in terms of like people like that, I think there's a certain caliber which has to be analyzed, right? In terms of caliber, Kendrick Lamar basically has, it's just so much that artistically that he is able to do naturally by himself. And whether that's just emotion, emphasis, how he says it, when he says it, he's been consistent from day one, I think, and that level of consistency within Drake, he seems like he's more of a culture. He moves with,
The culture, yeah.
with popular pop culture, and there's a lot of YouTubers out there like DJ Academics, which personally after hearing him like the first time, he said that's his guy, and no one else is comparable to him. That's fine and all, but at the end of the day, I feel like we got to realize this man is an actor, right? And he's been an actor since the Degrassi days, right? And he just sort of transitioned that and realized, hey, I can act in any way that I want. If I want to act like a rapper, like a hard ass, I just got to find. I think initially he found it wasn't going to be easy, just as easy as being signed by someone like Birdman, Lil Wayne. But he kind of found pieces, and I think, definitely people in LA and LA County definitely saw it, where he's trying to get with all these different rappers, ones that really don't have, either don't really have street credibility or just ones that he can branch off on. And in Kendrick Lamar's recent song, "Not Like Us," I think that was definitely impactful. He brought it back to LA with that one. He talked about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of allegations, of course, being thrown around, that some of which has been disproven on Kendrick's part in terms of him being an abuser. And I don't know, there's always this stereotype that every black man is an abuser, right? If they have a seemingly healthy relationship, then they got to throw it out there. Someone has to be a hater and throw it out there. Oh, you're just an abuser. And Drake is just that petty type of guy to throw out something like that. Funny enough, there's actually been previous interviews in the past, because either him or someone else, I don't exactly remember who, said the exact same thing, and he had to go on a podcast to basically clear the air with that. Like, no, like, there's a few things to mention. Like,
I've seen the podcast before, a long time ago, that you're talking about in regards to Kendrick clearing that allegation up.
and I'm saying, his wife hasn't came up. His wife has had 2 kids since then, right? His wife, who was his girlfriend since high school, and in this line of work, to have that amount of consistent credibility and consistency for Kendrick you got to give some credit to his wife as well for always being there. So credit to her for being a huge supporter in this, and understanding what has to happen in terms of this conflict. I feel like a few people could have did this. Lupe for sure could have did something like this, but I feel like he's had his own type of beef in the past, if I remember correctly, that he basically just wanted to kind of back away from. He wasn't trying to get too attached to the industry. He
Right.
definitely has spoken on this, but there has been a lot of controversy between inner industry dealings, and me being around that stuff, growing up around that, seeing celebrities, talking with celebrities every now and then, having a friend of a friend of a friend within just by association, and knowing and seeing certain things. Yeah, I definitely have, I definitely understand this is a part of the industry. Growing up in Hollywood, North Hollywood, West Hollywood, um, this is definitely something that is true in terms of like how dark the industry could get, or is. And you see instances like P. Diddy where his house is getting raided. And yeah, people have known about P. Diddy for 4 years.
Yeah.
Since I was like a child, and um in the 90s, people, even when Tupac was going on, and I know I'm a little bit all over the place now, but I try to when I think about Drake nowadays, I think of Suge Knight. Because that's essentially who I think Drake is essentially like the new Suge Knight. I think he's even said he's Suge Knight, in one of his raps, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I remember there's this bar in I can't remember which song it was, but he basically said like he compares himself to being like the villain in the eyes of the industry. He's Czechoslovakian or something like that. I can't remember the exact bar, but yeah. He says things like that a lot in his music if you really pay attention.
And people don't pay attention because his music is party music.
Right. It's more
Either party music or music to like, you know, play with your partner, for us time, that's, I think that's a weird part of it, especially like it looks even weirder for me. I don't think you guys understand. It looks even weirder for me because I know like he's got to be super conflicted in his mind, but he has to put on this persona. This persona is so detached from him, you know, or 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 rather attached to him, that I don't understand how he doesn't, like, he has the energy to do this. Ghostwriters, of course, would make sense unless, I think at a certain point, once you get to certain things, that's when you get to a industry which doesn't care about you, right? You have to deal with the streets a bit, right? And that's where you come up with the term of like blood money, right? Where now your blood is at risk, right? Like your life, your family, right? Your house and everything else, everything that you see is just for show, right? It can be taken away just like Kanye, right? Overnight, where he basically was a billionaire and then now he's like 100 millionaire. Like, this is what you really are. This is your real this is your real
right.
network, right? You decided to start acting on your own and go off contract, and now you are where you should be, where you were, and then this is all per contract. He has to do certain things to live up to this persona, and sure, he's breaking certain boundaries and cultural norms, but he's Canadian, right? um Complaining about American politics, about inner city dealings in the streets he doesn't know anything about. Like, if you listen to his music, he's not talking about anything. Kendrick was right the entire time. He doesn't talk about anything of substance. He said something in, I think it was a 616, track where he said something like, you don't provide, maybe it was Euphoria, where he said like, you don't provide any substance, you provide like, I provide, more of like a gift, more of something they can benefit off of, as opposed to something.
Yeah, it was Euphoria.
Something along those lines. You can go and check out the track now. But he's definitely mentioned it, and the fact that he dropped 4 times this week is insane. And I think that there's definitely, I heard something along the lines of, Kendrick's playing chess and checkers, which is believable because he's had years to dissect Drake. He's had years to understand Drake, and it's kind of a mistake because Kendrick is a genius, not just with music, but I think just like tactically, like he's this man is from Compton. I don't think people understand like the the amount of potential that comes out of cities like that. Yeah, it's there's a lot of street activity there, but when there's someone smart, you might want to check on them because that's it's interesting that with Kendrick you can't really he let me say it like this. With Kendrick, he can say anything that he wants to say from any angle that he wants to say it, because he has developed that before he even got started. The fact that he didn't do his research, if he had any way of understanding like the potential of Kendrick, unless he just wanted to put his name stamp on the fact that he had any sort of within the poetic justice. And I think was Kendrick in problems with 2 Chainz? Or was that just Drake? Was
That was Drake.
Maybe it was Mercy.
It was Drake in problems with 2 Chainz.
Anyways, yeah, they came out with a lot of music that were kind of tied together as if there would be some potential collaboration. And the other there was, conversations you could see. I don't know. I think honestly, this is a battle between someone that is, and to get back to that point, someone that like Drake, right, who is essentially using culture, Black culture specifically in hip hop, and it doesn't even have to be just Black culture, but that is probably more of a proper way to trademark that, to capitalize on that than otherwise. But using certain rappers to just talk and get credibility that he really has no substance to the guy. He doesn't provide any depth, and really I think this is a battle between more of like the purist space that understand the healthy consciousness of like hip hop, and then of course and culture, as opposed to just pop culture, which I think what Drake does is just he just does what's cool. He's a trend mover, right? So with that, he'll essentially drop anything, whether he incorporates the ghostwriter or not, right? He's always just made an effort to just move with the trends, right? So yeah, sure, maybe he has he has been able to move to the trends more quick, more effectively, but can with certain potential, certain quality, you don't have to do all that. All you have to do is be yourself. And it's very difficult to understand. Drake puts on this persona as this nice, bright guy that is charismatic. He has all this charisma, and it's a false identity, really. I don't believe anything the guy says. Especially we know that he'll lie about certain things. Even in the previous diss tracks, right? He's willing to go to an extent that's petty, right? Just for the sake of it, for clout, and that right there is superficial, right? So he's giving us like, even though we're not picking up the fact that he's not saying like, yeah, I'm this type of guy. He's displaying his through his actions. Yeah, I am this type of guy, right? That who he's dealing with. Like he there's the amount of allegations toward him with the not sure if I'm allowed to say the P word, but the offender allegations with not just with Kendrick, but his team primarily. I believe they're true. And why do I believe they're true? Because I know there are girls that certain people that are on certain types of drugs don't really, there are people that don't care about the fact that you're a year or 2 years under the legal age. And there are people that will take advantage of that in Hollywood, for sure. There are, and it's something that a lot of people in Black culture don't like. In fact, they hate it, right? Because it basically blurs the lines between what's authentic and what's not authentic within Black culture, and it really makes it look more terrible than what it is. Yeah, Black culture, there can be some dark aspects of that, and that can be displayed, of course, but in terms of its separation between pop culture and Black culture, there is a difference. I guarantee there's a lot of people that do not know that, though. And academics, bro, I'm sure you don't know anything. Like, I mean, I don't know if you're from Texas. I have no idea, but I definitely know there's a bit of a delay in terms of cultural know-abouts from the heart of LA and Hollywood to the East Coast. And so maybe that may be a hiccup for him, or maybe he's also, I'm sure he's probably hung out with Drake at some points in times. He's definitely received messages from Drake, similar, and it's weird because they're saying Kendrick said he was compromised, and then I was like watching these videos, and it looks like Kai is also compromised because he received a message from Drake too. And what I mean by compromise, I don't know if I have the same meaning as compromise as Kendrick, but basically, like he's on a contract. He gets paid under the table to say what he needs to say on stream to continue an agenda that is not of healthy statute. And so I don't know exactly how these legally work themselves out. I can't say that for sure. I know a lot of things are subject to plausible deniability. But I don't know. What is your take on the situation?
I think with a lot of things that you said, you pretty much echoed my thoughts, pretty much like on the whole situation. Like, to me, it's pretty much, it just boils down essentially to just a battle of authenticity versus validation and benefit. Like, that is the entire vibe that I get from the whole battle. And even that, just Kendrick, like there were other artists that have come out and had said things against Drake and like some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. But I mean, the one thing with me with music, it's specifically with hip hop music, is I always appreciate an artist that brings authenticity and that brings truth about themselves and their lyrics. And that's one thing that why he's one of my favorites, and one thing that I really respect and like Kendrick for doing. Because when I listen to his lyrics, I always feel like he's telling some kind of truth of his story of what he's been through. So I can see from his perspective of how some of the things that he sees with that kind of lifestyle that Drake is, you know, trying to validate or, be a part of or benefit from. Like, I can see how that would rub him the wrong way. So there's a lot to break down with that. But I feel like the way that you put it, for the most part, was completely echoing my thoughts on the whole situation.
I like that. You spoke about truth, and I'm glad you're bringing up some truths. Because there's an apparent disconnect, I think, in terms of the split between the Drake fan base and the Kendrick fan base. Um, and some of those people were in the middle. I would say that in terms of my stance, I am a bit biased, because I understand where Kendrick comes from, and I also understand where Drake comes from. But I am from Los Angeles, so I got to see a lot of the actions and inactions of each of those of their influence, right? Um, and in that comes truth, right? And so I think a lot of that has been obscured within their lyrics, but um I think that it's more. I think that both of them have their own set of truths, right? And so I think they both kind of found ways to implement that. At the end of the day, Drake loses this, he could come out and say, "I was just acting. I'm an actor," right? And even that
Mm,
wouldn't discount his allegations that were made against him, and um, you know, really there could be some legal repercussions behind them unless they're all true, right? They're all factual. And so, facts based on evidence, right, could be sustained in the court of law and could be used as more of a whistleblower, especially if you're within the industry, but not necessarily pursuing any current agenda, right? And this may be why Kendrick is so distant, right? Because he's not actively trying to pursue certain current legal agendas. If you understand, he was signed by Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre is sort of his own organization under Top. He was signed by Top Dog Entertainment as well. Um, or at least recognized by, well, he was either recognized by Dr. Dre and signed by Top Dog. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
it is. You're correct.
But um, you know, there's a lot that stack up against Drake. Birdman, who is also shady natured, in terms of not only his background, but the people he's dealt with, that he's hung out with. With Drake, we see there are no limitations behind like his restrictions. He's very open to everything, and anyone like that in Hollywood is probably not someone ideally you want to hang out with, because they probably, and this is a lot of if should, if could, type of stuff, type of conversation that um I'm speaking right here. But those are probably not the people you want to hang around, is my entire point, because those are the people that tend to be the most vulnerable and susceptible to misdealings, you see Diddy, right? A lot of multiple people came out and said, yeah, you got to say no to Diddy, right? And now there's this huge movement, no Diddy, right? Because people, Cat Williams just so happened to be right this time, and I don't know if that was, I don't know if he just heard something from a friend of a friend, or if he knew, or if he just took a guess, or if he was the catalyst to this. But it's speculated that could have been the case. It's a long shot and it's a stretch, but I think he was a catalyst to this? No. I think this was something in the works for a long time. And there are a few slip ups. You could probably trace his sundown. Diddy's been doing this for years. So the fact that he just now got caught is amazing. Amazing. And get his ass out of here, man. And get Drizzy out of here too. No Drizzy. But no, in terms of like, whoa, why is my screen like that? Blue light. In terms of like Drake, I think that he could come back with something after this, but should he? I don't think he should, just because I think that Kendrick could keep going. Like there's a lot of people of the streets around him, and he's also from the streets. Like his family is, he mentioned his family is prior Pyru, or his family is Pyru. That's in Compton, he's also got a lot of people, like, he came after, he put AI Snoop on his diss track. Like Snoop is still alive.
Oh yeah, remember that.
Like, do you not think that if he decides to do something rash and he doesn't like what you do or say, that he's not gonna come after you? Like, bro, he's almost like he's getting old, bro. Like he's had kids, he's got grandkids. All you gotta do is sign off his money and make a move. But I'm not encouraging anything. Yeah, I don't want anything to get messy, but I think there has to be some type of some type of positive result to this, right? I think that for sure Drake needs to concede, for sure, or secede. This has gone on far enough, I think. Yeah, Drake has a huge he has a bit of a legacy, right? In terms of I think you can see that he kind of, it looks like he's leaving like some breadcrumbs of his legacy in his last song, Family Matters. And I feel like I've never, it feels what it feels like to me. It feels like Drake knows that this is coming to an end, because he brought back, like, in none of his art, or none of his music, he's brought back a beat from like one of the first beats, like the end of Family Matters. I'm pretty sure that was a beat from like his first tracks, if I remember correctly, or very very back to those days. Is very similar to Back to Those Days, but no, like for sure. And this is a little scary, especially because I know like people have got Kendrick's back. Like Kendrick has changed people's lives for sure, like all over the country, probably all over the world. Actually, no, I know all over the world, because he made a song. The song I was trending all over the world, and people were like making videos saying, "I love myself," right? Which is crazy.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
People need to hear that. People need to hear that to change their lives. And he has changed lives. So no, I don't think that, I think their potential, Drake has potential, but Kendrick massively outweighs that in terms of what his creativity limitations are, right? Drake, he has money. That's what he has. He has money. He has money and he has charisma. With those two things, you can go a long way, for sure. But and you can text a few YouTubers under the table to get your name out there. To come off as hardcore. I was about to say Naruto fans. Hardcore Drake fans. Funny enough, I actually see, it's weird that I compared Kendrick to Bleach, because people have been making, and I'm glad people see this comparison, have been making comparisons to Aizen. Aizen knows things, like he is legit the boogeyman of Bleach. He's like a boogeyman in Bleach. He basically knows things before they happen. And that is how people feel about Aizen in that anime, up to a point, and they kind of understand, oh, he kind of is this way or that way. We still don't truly understand, I think, the entirety of Sosuke Aizen, but that's Kendrick, yeah, for sure. He has the talent, he has the gift, he has the charisma, for sure, and he's been given back since day one. Not even his mixtapes. I go back to day one, his first available tapes. Like they may not be the most appealing radio sounding tracks, but you're gonna learn something from them, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like I still bump like the Heart Part 2 from like way back on one of his old mixtapes to this day. So I feel you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean he's the only reason why I found out about about to say top dog TD what is it? What is the official name? TD, my bad. Top Dog
Yeah,
Entertainment.
Top Dog Entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you still got, and it's weird, right? Because these, just addressing these allegations, right? Wasn't SZA hanging around like Drake and Sexy Red in that one video? Like, has she been?
Which one? Do you remember?
The same one where Drake made a video with Sexy Red being pregnant, being rushed to the hospital. As if that's a baby, right? And SZA's in that video. It's the same beat. How does it go? He said it in his Family Matters when he
Oh, you're talking about it's called Rich Baby Daddy.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. That's the song.
But yeah, that's what I was like, maybe SZA gave him all this information. Like, why would you allow SZA around you? First of all, like what? I guess, I mean, hey, that's why I say, like, Drake is very, very careless, like a very, very careless person, and anyone like that is dangerous, not only for society but for themselves. And this could all. I don't doubt any of this information. Maybe one thing, no, I'm very skeptical about judging this information too harshly, right? Because I'm almost certain that this is true, right? That a lot of things Kendrick said were true, or are true, and all I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for them to come and raid the embassy, and that might sound extremely dumb, especially because there may be no legal substance to this, because either one, it's true, and he could just be doing society a huge favor, and he could make the case, and he could probably make the case in court that he was expressing it in an art form so that the people around him could understand, and so that and because that's the only way he knows how to express things. He could make a few arguments, and with a decent lawyer, I'm sure, or especially a lawyer with the caliber of money that he has, he could probably just wipe this thing clear. But I'm more concerned about whether or not this is true, because if it's true, then hey. But if it's not true, I don't know. I don't see Kendrick to be the type of person to say things that aren't true. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. And for Drake, I almost certainly, I think he's so slimy. He's willing to say anything and everything to make him look popular, and he's a narcissist, really. Like I understand narcissistic tendencies, and everything that he's dished out, he's basically told on himself, like, this is who I am. Like, I can't even. He may have signed off on some things, and he reviewed it, I'm sure, if he's smart, and even if he reviewed it, he accepted it, right? He decided, yes, I'm going to put this out in the public, right? So anything that comes his way, I don't care. I'm happy that it's all catching back up to him, because he deserves it, honestly. I find it weird when people hide behind charisma. And I'm not saying that charisma is a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's something to look out for in terms of narcissistic tendencies. And it's something that's very scary for the fan base. It's something that's negatively impacted the culture, hip hop. Just weed it out. Let's bring it back to the original days, where hip hop was actually saying things of substance, pertaining to you as an individual, or maybe telling a story. His stories are like all superficial, and that's cool and all, but it's got everyone that doesn't have a brain of their own believing that they can do these superficial things and get away with it. It's not right. It's probably more of a simplistic way of looking at that. Maybe I'll give my thoughts on the aftermath of this later. But yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent at that. I definitely want to speak about that. This man dropped 4 tapes. I don't think they can compete. I don't think Drake can compete, even if he is able to sit, wait maybe a week, rack up on a few of these. I don't think that, I think that the amount of the steps that Kendrick has taken, I think he's already like steps ahead of the game. He's got a lot of OGs that he's got the ear of, right? That he can come back to, get their wisdom. Who does Drake have? If anything, Birdman and maybe Lil Wayne. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some OGs. And what I mean by OGs is like people that are, that were born in that era, in the 90s and the 80s. Sorry, in the 70s and the 80s. Probably even the 60s, 70s, probably more accurate. That understand, what, how this unfolds and how this looks from their level. Yeah, they've been through a lot of it before, because it's not like it's all culture dealings. Yeah, sure, Drake can make a few deep fakes, get creative, but all that is superficial. Like, it's all gonna be like, no one's gonna remember that. People remember Back to Back because it was a catchy beat. I don't remember a goddamn word. Back. Like, if I find one person, that's why I should have invited someone that really likes Drake. That way we could talked about that aspect. But
Oh man, I feel the same way that you feel about Bat to Bat when I heard Push Ups. Like, because the whole song, the entire theme was about Kendrick's physicality, like his stature. But like as far as everything else in the song, like I don't remember the song other than the hook being catchy. So
Yeah, this man. That's why this man is all built on a persona. Like everything about the guy is his body, right? His facial hair, his braids. Like, bro, first off, I know braids are a Viking thing, right? But
right,
the style of braids, right? That has is what has been changed within hip hop culture, right? Has been the birth of different styles are what have is what has shed light on hip hop, right? But he's not from the United States, first off, and he's not from that era. Like, you were an actor, bro. Um, you gotta take a step back on this one, like, hands down. Even I mentioned Lupe could have did this before, but Kendrick is the guy for this because it's his time. It's his time. You know, it's time for everyone to really kind of understand. You know, not everything is superficial, right? There is a reason why some people are just born to win, right? And I do think even if it appears that Kendrick wins or loses, people are going to go back to that and they're going to really understand. Oh, wait a minute, he was actually like 5 steps ahead of this, and they're going to review every line. You can go back and dissect it, but even some videos, I find some people are like, what does that house mean? Oh, I heard that was Kendrick's house, bro. No, that's Drake's embassy house. First off, oh. And then even like the some of the things that Drake said that were really West Coast street heavy lingo, right? And I was like, I mean, I understand it because I speak fluent slang, right? That was my first language. Aside from like you know the Eastern Louisiana communication, because that's where our folks are from. Um, but aside from that, I heard it perfectly. I was like, okay. And I went to the reviews and I was like, bro, what are you talking about? How do you not understand that? And I realized how much I've changed over the years. And I was like, okay, no, it's just me. Like, I guess I understand it because we all made that move. But all right, yeah. Yeah, that was I don't know, any other thoughts before we move on to the next stuff?
no, I think you summed up the situation just about perfectly. I don't think I have too much more to add on that whole that
Okay.
drama.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll try to make it quick. I know we got our media and tech news coming up. So I will do you wanna give this one, or do you want me to start off?
Yeah, it was just I was thinking of the general question since we're having a lot of use of AI to create like deep fakes of as of recently, especially when it pertains to like political candidates. Do well, I already know the answer to this one, but do you see it ramping up a lot more as we get closer to the 2024 election?
if you, I know you need to head out pretty soon. Oh, all right. Oh, okay, guys. So yeah, Breezy had to head out. Bit of an emergency there. So we will catch him on the next time. On next time, but I wanted to bring up. I'm gonna answer this question here, and then we'll wrap it up. But his question was essentially, if I remember correctly, will deepfakes become rampant in the 2024 elections? Will there be increased? Will there be an increase of AI? And I want to make sure to provide you guys the best information on this. Yes. I'm gonna go with my original answer. Yes and no. Right. There is still lack um of awareness in terms of deepfakes potential and their current capabilities. And so, I think it's always possible, but I don't want to encourage that to take effect. I don't think that'll be an impactful thing in terms of the election. And so, yeah, I think that. Hey, you disconnected?
Yeah, I disconnected. Yeah, I needed to head out. I got pretty urgent text.
Okay, yeah, man. Do what you got to do. I'll finish up here. Probably finish on um, this last bit, and
Okay.
then we could continue on later.
Okay, I'll catch up with you then. Thank you. It was a good discussion though.
For sure, man. Of course.
Alrighty.
All right. Take care, man.
You too.
See. Yeah. So I don't think there'll be an impactful thing in the year of 2024. Now that I think the majority of, I think when they initially came out, if they would have been as effective as they were, as they are now, I think that, and the potential there is it could become, and it is getting to unreal levels, right? Um, but I think there'll be more of a analytical process in terms of understanding what's real and what's not, and there'll be more regulation established for that. In the coming years, there'll be more of a concern in terms of what things are being viewed and what things um, are being publicized, right? YouTube has established certain rules and is currently in the process of establishing current rules under Google guidelines, and of course, I'm sure the government is also going to ensure that things are publicized for awareness purposes. Um, there's always the possibility that you can um, come out and publicly disprove that was completely fabricated, depending on the source, the time. There's so many aspects to this. Even if something looks real, doesn't mean it is. Um, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not even really here. It's just, this is just deepfake. I'm honestly just a deepfake, Um, no, but yeah, honest, there, in terms of like, the potential of it, uh, it's possible some people may be affected by it, but I think the majority of Americans will understand. Okay, oh, based off of what I'm seeing is coming from an official source, I think those things will be quickly disproven, right? And so that is something that is also going to have to um it's going to require a bit more than just that to influence or increase any rampant activity during that time. But yeah, um I'm sorry we had more of an abrupt ending there, but we had a fairly deep conversation a few deep conversations. And if you like this, if you like this stream, like the stream, and I really appreciate you guys for stopping by, supporting us from time to time. I could not thank you guys enough. Make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below if you like the video. If you want to hear us talk about more things like this, I know it's a bit of a different podcast. Definitely, hit us or follow us on Twitter, join the Discord, leave the comments, and yeah, we'll get back to you. But we'll see you next time, travelers. Peace.